Why is Apple's smallest iPad more expensive than the bigger version? It's kind of confusing, especially since it didn't used to be this way. When iPad mini came out in 2012, it cost $329, which made it the cheapest iPad ever. It was $70 less than the year-old iPad 2 and $170 less than the newest Retina iPad. This lineup made sense, but over the years things changed. The regular iPad was split up into 3 different models, and pricing went all over the place. So let's take a look at how this happened. The second generation iPad mini came out in 2013 and added some premium features, like a Retina display and Apple's latest A7 chip, so they charged a more premium price, starting at $399, a $70 increase in just 1 year. That put it at the same price point as the iPad 2, a device with a larger display. This began the confusion around iPad mini, because why would someone pay the same amount for a smaller screen? The reality was that the mini had better technology, but this wasn't immediately apparent to customers. And the line was blurred even further in 2014, when Apple began selling 3 different iPad minis and 2 different iPad Airs with no regular iPad models. Now this gets into the weirdness of the iPad lineup in general, which I'll explain in my next video, so be sure you're subscribed for that. But you can see just how confusing this was. I'm not sure customers could tell the difference between the mini models themselves, let alone why they would pay the same price for the Mini 3 instead of the larger Air. The same was the case in 2015 with the iPad Mini 4, although the big problem arrived in 2017, when Apple introduced the 5th-gen iPad. It had a 9.7-inch display for $329, but the iPad Mini had a 7.9-inch display for $400. This was the first time in Apple's history that a mini model was more expensive than the standard. The iPod mini was the cheapest iPod, the iPhone 12 mini was the cheapest iPhone 12, the Mac mini was and still is the cheapest Mac, but this all fell apart with the iPad. And the reason has to do less with the mini and more with the Chromebook, which are all-in-one computers that run Chrome OS, primarily aimed at the education market. Different manufacturers sell different models and prices vary, but you can buy one for as little as $250. This was very appealing to schools, who helped boost the Chromebook's computer market share to almost 11% in 2020, beating the Mac's 7.5%. This scared Apple, since there was no way to make a $250 MacBook, but they could offer an affordable iPad that matched and even exceeded many of the Chromebook's features, which is exactly what happened in 2018, when Apple held an education event in Chicago introducing just one new product, a $329 iPad with a 9.7-inch display, making it the cheapest iPad ever at that size. And Apple was clear about the product's competition, saying, "This iPad is more powerful than virtually every Chromebook." It's because of Apple's need to compete in the education market that the iPad mini was left in an awkward spot. Apple didn't want to remove features from the Mini like its more powerful chip, camera flash, P3 color gamut, and laminated display, just for the sake of lowering its price at or below the iPads. So now we're left with an iPad mini that's $50 more than the standard model, which begs the question, is it worth buying? And the answer really depends on your personal needs. If you like the small, light design, then it's worth paying more. But if you want a larger screen for drawing or content consumption, then the lower cost iPad is likely the better choice. This is Greg with Apple Explained. Thanks for watching till the end, and I'll see you in the next video.